Peace and blessings to the hearers and doers of the Lord's word. This is The Awakening, and I am Solican. I want to go ahead and get into this. I want to talk about how when non-believers reject you, like if you tell, and this is for those who, speak the gospel to people, their family members, people on the street, people that they know, when you telling them about, you giving them your life testimony, telling them how good the Lord is, how special the relationship with Jesus Christ is, how important it is, how it saved your very life from the brink of death. And you have people to basically, either scoff at that or basically mock the faith or something. Understand, don't even take that personal, don't even take it to heart, don't even give it a second thought. Because honestly, what they're doing, they're rejecting God. They're not rejecting you. You understand? And people have the right. God gave them the right to reject him. And they can do that. Let them. You understand? But I don't want you to take it to heart. Sometimes us as believers, like I know I've suffered from this, had a problem with this. You presenting your pearls, as the Bible calls it, presenting your pearls before swine. Not calling people pigs, but that was the analogy of pearls to swine. Like a person, you giving like I said, the best thing you got, your life testimony, everything that you've seen from your perspective, the goodness of the Lord that you can share with someone else, the gift that keeps on giving, and this will improve their life. Nothing the Lord does comes back void. Nobody that I know have got the gospel and their life got worse. Like, come on now. Oh, you was an alcoholic, drug addict, womanizer, but now you got the gospel and got clean. What state was better for you? You a person who out here following the world, in and out of relationships, got insecurities, but then, the gospel comes into your life, you know what I'm saying, and free you from all of those things, allow you to become more selfless and things like that, and get your mind right. You don't need psych meds anymore. What state was better for you? This is the gift that keeps on giving. But again, you have people and they have the ability and they have the right to reject God. They really do. See, the Bible, there's different translations, different versions that says the same thing, but I like to use each one of those versions are good for edification of the Lord. See, when people talk about the different versions of this and this, they say the same thing. You know what I'm saying? It's just a different way and perspective of reading them. And I mean, a different, it gives you a full perspective, a full spectrum, to be honest, really, if you're smart. So this is from let's read the King James version first. It says, "Give not that which is holy unto the dogs, neither cast ye your pearls before swine, lest they trample them under their feet and turn again and rend you." See, that took it even further. That told you that you don't cast your pearls before the swine, because what they'll do is turn against you and rend you. And this happens to a lot of people. Like if you preaching the gospel in the wrong crowd, you understand? Like, say these people are, and I'm gonna read. Let's read another version. It says, "Don't give holy things to depraved men." And this is in this is in the book of Matthew, chapter 7, and this is verse 6. The book of Matthew, chapter 7, verse 6. It says, "Don't give holy things to depraved men. Don't give pearls to swine. They will trample the pearls and turn and attack you." Now, what people do a lot of times when you see people preaching the gospel on the street, and people will turn and attack them. People, what they do is it cuts them. That sword, the word of the Lord, is like a sword. It cuts deep into their spirit. It lets them know the way that they living is wrong. And that's a jarring thing to people. Like, and to some people who are demonized, that's something they must fight against. You know, the demonic beings who are in them will cause them to fight against the living God. That's what'll happen when you see people putting their hands on preachers and stuff like that. That's what's in them, and that's what the Lord is informing you of. Don't give holy things to depraved men. You understand? You giving your pearls to swine, they gonna trample your pearls, dirty them up, then attack you. They gonna, like, you spending too much time with the wrong crowd is gonna influence you to do the wrong thing. You understand? That's why you don't see fellowship. Like, Jesus Christ was the only one fellowshipping, and it's not saying that you don't fellowship or talk to people who are lost. No, Jesus Christ was here to save the lost and the sinners. But you have some men who are not only lost, but there are some men and women who are not only lost, but they are demonized. They are depraved. And those people are different, because those people are those who choose to fight against the living God. They've chose that path for themselves, and they have the right to choose that path, but they've done it. So there's no and don't take discouragement with that, because what they're doing is rejecting God. They ain't rejecting you as a person. They rejecting God. This is what happens in the book of Samuel, 1 Samuel chapter 8 verse 7. It said Samuel was there. The people were asking Samuel for a king. Let me give you the full perspective of this, because this is gonna wrap up the video for me. This puts it in its full perspective. You can have people who are calling themselves you could have people who will listen to you. They'll listen to everything you saying. They'll hear, they may even nod their head while you there. You understand? But the words don't take. Like, the seed falls on bad soil. It doesn't take. And what they do is they in turn get around other people, and they just those words going one out the other. They forget about that. They didn't reject you, like everything, your efforts and stuff. No, they just rejected the living God. It's not going to be us and our words that convince people, because there's been better men than me who's tried to do this, and they've done it with better people than that's on the earth today. Let's just be real. These people who they were speaking to God was on the earth with them, like nearly, like they saw a lot of miracles and different things and stuff that a lot of people aren't privy to today. They were learned and versed in the ways of the Lord. Like, people, people don't people don't exercise the same amount of discipline that they did back in the days. People like today are just so phony and fake that it's just unreal. So, but better men than me have tried to lead people to the Lord, or lead people in the truth, and they've rejected them. Let me go ahead and let's start on 1 Samuel chapter 8, and I'm just gonna read you the whole scripture. We're gonna go all the way into chapter 9. This is what I'm gonna do. In his old age, Samuel retired and appointed his sons as judges in his place. Joel and Abijah, his oldest sons, held court in Beersheba, but they were not like their father. They were greedy for money. They accepted bribes and were very corrupt in the administration of justice. Finally, the leaders of Israel met in Ramah to discuss this matter with Samuel. And this is what caused them to do this now. Like, it's not totally I don't just totally demonize the people for this, because they had judges. They were judged. Like, they had the children of Israel had judges. Instead of like the other nations who had kings and all of these other things. God was Israel's judge, was their king. God was the king of Israel. He was there directly. Remember, God was following them in a pillar, in a cloud of smoke. First of all, God was living in Mount Sinai. His presence. Can you imagine that? Do you know the presence of the living God was on earth? You know how amazing that was? In a volcano. The presence of the living God was resting somewhere, rested with Israel. It was over them. But they was like, look, man, but the judges that God had appointed, the human judges he appointed, they were corrupt. Like his sons, the sons of Samuel were corrupt. They weren't good men. And so let's get back into it. And it says, they told him that since his retirement, things hadn't been the same, for his sons were not good men. That's what the people told him. Give us a king like all the other nations have, they pleaded. Samuel was terribly upset when he went to the Lord for advice. Do as they say, the Lord replied, for I am the one they are rejecting, not you. They don't want me to be their king any longer. Ever since I brought them from Egypt, they continually forsaken me and followed other gods. And now they are giving you the same treatment. Do as they ask, but warn them about what it will be like to have a king. This is God talking to Samuel. Samuel was messed up behind that. He felt like, dang, because, they said the people told him, they say, since your retirement, things hasn't been the same. Your sons aren't good men. Give us a king like all the other nations have. And Samuel was upset. You understand? It upset him. And he went to the Lord for advice. Samuel was upset by that. And he went to God for advice. And God told him to just do as they say, because he was the one that the people were rejecting. It's not you. If you present your stuff before people and and you giving them the gospel and they may seem non-receptive to it, or you understand, or they may seem like they attacking you. It's not you, man. It's God. So don't even feel discouraged. Just dust yourself off, as it say in the Bible, in the book, and just keep going. Go on to the next. Dust yourself off. Go on to the next. It's fine. And so this is in the book of Samuel, 1 Samuel chapter 8 again, and we're gonna let's start from there. It says, ever since I brought them from Egypt, they have continually forsaken me and followed other gods, and now they are giving you the same treatment. Do as they ask, but warn them about what it'll be like to have a king. So Samuel told the people what the Lord said. If you insist on having a king, and this is what's happened today from all nations, you could just substitute king with president. This is what's happened in all nations across the world. If you insist on having a king, he will conscript your sons, make them run before his chariots. Some will be made to lead his troops into battle, while others will be slave laborers. They'll be forced to plow in the royal fields, harvest his crops without pay, and make his weapons and chariot equipment. He'll take the daughters from you, force them to cook and bake perfumes for him. He will take away your best of your fields and vineyards and olive groves and give them to his friends. Isn't that the same thing that goes on? Corruption and money and all this stuff today. See, this was just how they had a different way of living then. It's the same way today. You would rather put your faith in men and presidents and stuff and dictators than you would in the living God. And that's sad. It said he'll take from your olive groves and give them to his friends. He'll take 1/10 of your harvest and distribute it to his favorites. They taking taxes from you. Like, where's all my money going? Like, you just taking my money. He'll demand your slaves, and he will demand your slaves and the finest of your youth, and will use your animals for his personal gain. He'll demand 1/10 of your flocks, and you will be his slaves. You will shed bitter tears because of the king you are demanding, but the Lord will not help you. But the people refused to listen to Samuel's warning. Even so, they still want a king, they said, for we want to be like the nations all around us. He will govern us and lead us into battle. So Samuel told the Lord what the people had said, and the Lord replied, then do as they say and give them a king. So the Samuel agreed and sent the men home again. Samuel agreed. That's all he did. You understand? Samuel agreed. He agreed with what the Lord said. And the Lord told him that, look, They ain't rejecting you, man. Don't even trip. They rejecting me. With that being said, this is The Awakening. Peace and blessings to the hearers and doers of the Lord's word. A special shout out to those who are sealed in Christ. My name is Super Solican. I'm gone.